Hey guys, Mr. Backerberg here. In this video, we're going to take a look at the 16-point unit circle. Now, the work that we were doing with our special right triangles, our 30, 60, 90 triangles, and our 45, 45, 90 triangles, were leading us into what we're going to be doing with the unit circle. Because if we focus on the first quadrant, those angles that we're seeing on the unit circle are those angles from our special right triangle. We've got a 30-degree angle, a 45-degree angle, and a 60-degree angle. So all of these ordered pairs that we're ending up with come from those special right triangles relationships being used within this unit circle. Now notice on this unit circle there are degree angles and corresponding radian angles. It's going to be very important for us to be able to easily work back and forth between those radians and degrees. Also notice we've got all of these ordered pairs going around the outside of our unit circle. Just like we talked about before with all of those ordered pairs, the x value matches up with the cosine and the y value matches up with the sine. So for example, if I wanted to do the sine of a pi over 6 angle, I would find pi over 6 on my unit circle. Sine is the y value, so the answer would be a half. Now we need to get very comfortable with all of the angles and all of those ordered pairs that are on this unit circle. And ideally, it would be nice if we could work through problems related to the unit circle without actually having to have it in front of us to assist us. Now I agree that could be a pretty tough task because there's a lot of information on this unit circle, so I'm going to try to give you some tips and some hints to maybe help you remember some of those values. Now the first specific angles that I want to take a look at on the unit circle are the ones called the quadrant angles. And these are the angles that fall directly on our x-axis or directly on our y-axis as we're working our way around our picture. Now notice with all of those ordered pairs, those are combinations of ones and zeros and negative ones, just kind of depending on where they fall. Also notice that this 0 degree, 0 radian angle, if we think about coterminal angles, 0 degrees and 0 radians is the exact same thing as 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. Both of those would land us at that 1, 0 ordered pair. Now I want to start taking a look at connections between some of the other angles. And we're going to start with all of the angles that have an over 6 with their radian fraction look. So in the first quadrant, we've got pi over 6. In the second quadrant, we've got 5 pi over 6. Then we've got 7 pi over 6 and 11 pi over 6. Now notice with those ordered pairs, it's the exact same combination of values. It has a root 3 over 2 in the x value, and it has a 1/2 in the y value. Now depending on which quadrant we're in, some of the signs are changing. In the first quadrant, both of those values are positive, but if we move to the second quadrant, the x is negative because we went left, but the y is still positive. Down in the bottom left-hand corner in that third quadrant, they're both negative, and down in the fourth quadrant, the x is positive and the y is negative. But those ordered pairs are exactly the same aside from the signs. Similarly, if we looked at the pi over 4 family of angles, if we look at those ordered pairs, they're exactly the same as we work our way around our circle. They all have root 2 over 2 and root 2 over 2 as the x and as the y. We're just changing signs as we move around the unit circle. And likewise with that pi over 3 family of angles. Here the x value has a 1/2 in it and the y value has a root 3 over 2. But again, we're just changing signs as we move our way around the circle. So ideally, if we can get really comfortable with using those angles from the first quadrant, going from 0 up to pi over 2, and knowing the angles and knowing the relationship between the radian measure and the ordered pairs, if we can get very comfortable using this first quadrant, then from there, all we need to be able to do is transfer those ordered pairs and those angles across the rest of our circle, and then we should be able to complete a full unit circle. But there are going to be things that we just flat out have to know and commit to memory. But the more we use these angles and the more we work with these angles, hopefully the more comfortable we get with them. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.